Berkshire again. Big opening. Pass 5. Pass 10. Perko's a man. And he goes all the way to the 15-yard line. 17 yards of the carry.
I'm just
Let's rock. Let's rock.
Here we go. Ready in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Believe in Badgers on the Believe Network, presented by betonline.ag and Oak Bridge Wealth Management. I'm Matt Perkins, joined as always by Badger legend, the Hebrew Hammer himself, Matt Bernstein. Bernie, it's Alabama week. How we doing?
Listen, I'm only a legend because of this guy. I would have been a nobody if we didn't have an Anthony Davis out there on the field. Literally, AD, I think about how amazing this offense would have been with you in it. Dude, our offense was amazing with you in it. But imagine, dude, you were the best jump cutter I've ever seen. So I just wanted to say, like, I always think about it, I'm like, man, AD would have been rushing for 200-300 yards, like easy peasy.
Yeah, man, I think it's a great offense. I think that, still got to work out some kinks, but, I think there's some potential there. And I would have loved it too. I mean, you got to, you give me a bunch of field to run in. I mean, that's a running back's dream, to have some flexibility to take the ball where you want to go take the ball. So.
Before we get started, want to remind everyone tuning in that we continue to be presented by betonline.ag. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff? Get in on the $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of that $200,000. When the game's over, head on over to the online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head on over to the website today. That's betonline.ag to get in on the action. Bet online. The game starts here. And, of course, our main man, Chris Anicetti, and his team at Oak Bridge Wealth Management. If you are a current or future professional athlete or a collegiate athlete with NIL endorsements, Chris Anicetti is the guy to connect with. He and his team will create a bespoke financial plan for you that is tailored to exactly what you need. They only deal with professional athletes, so they know exactly what it takes for you to succeed on and off the field. Chris and his team will make sure that your finances are set and in place so you can focus on doing what you do best, and that's performing on the field. Get in touch with Chris and his team on Instagram at Oakbridge_Anicetti. That's at Oakbridge_ANICETE, or check out the website at oakbridgewealthmgmt.com. That's Chris Anicetti and Oak Bridge Wealth Management.
So, AD, we have you for a short amount of time. So Let's just jump right into it. What are you seeing from the Badgers offense this year? What do you like? What don't you like?
Okay. So I'm trying to be fair. I'm definitely trying to be patient with them. I'll tell you what I don't. I'll tell you what I like. I think that we have some playmakers, right? I think that we have a lot of playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. I like the running back position. I think we got solid backs, at least 3 or 4 deep, if not more. I like the receiver position. I think we got a good range of receivers. We got some shifty, small slots that can work the middle of the field, take jet sweeps, be utilized in different ways. I think we got some larger or taller possession receivers, some guys that want the ball that can make good catches. Also serving a return game. I mean, I think we have weapons. I don't think that the production matches the talent. And that, I think, is the frustrating part for me as a fan, is I'm just waiting for the offense to kind of take off. And it didn't necessarily happen last year until that bowl game. And then the bowl game, I'm like, okay, this is what this could be, right? This is what this could look like. We're throwing the ball down the field. We are. I mean, it just seems like we're playing loose. We're throwing the ball down the field. People are making plays. And I'm like, finally, it has arrived. And then, week 1 this year, I'm like, okay, I didn't necessarily see that, and so it is a little frustrating, I think, as a fan. I'm trying to be, just patient, you know what I mean? I want to see some guys get the ball more. Naturally, I liked some of the younger running backs. I really liked some of the talent we have. I'd like to see them get into the rotation more. Tretch, I think, is probably, if not the most dynamic player we have, one of them. And I'm like, get him the ball. I don't know what we have to do. Get this guy the damn ball. Give him a jet sweep. Give him a handoff. Get this guy the ball. And so, I don't think that, part of what I like about the spread offense or about this air raid offense is you can move the ball around, right? There doesn't have to be one person touching the ball, 60% of the time. You can spread it around to different guys, but doesn't always seem like that happens. And then some of the short passes that I'm seeing is, I think that's like, okay, not that I would ever not advocate for the running backs catching a swing pass, but like, come on now, we're throwing like 20 of them a game, right? Like, get the ball down the field. So, but I'm being patient. I'm a fan. I love those guys, and I'm, I'm always going to be, I'm always going to be patient. I'm always going to be a Badger fan, but just would love to see the offense take off.
Then what do you think is preventing it from taking off? Is there, you said they've got the talent. Do you think is it scheme? Is it execution? Like, can you tell from watching on TV down in Atlanta?
It's hard to tell. You know what I mean? The first game, it looked like we were just kind of taking whatever we got, right? Like, if the defense gave us, a 5-yard out, we're going to take a 5-yard out. We'll just take what they're giving us. And, the second game, I was like, okay, well, maybe this will change. And I'm like, so I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's how we're game planning for teams, or I don't know if it's, hesitancy to throw the ball down the field, or if other teams just have dynamic secondaries or what, But I hope we open the offense up a little bit and start to throw the ball down the field more.
AD, you mentioned, I think everyone's being patient. Some people more than others with, like kind of the transition even from last year to this year. I would agree. We played two subpar teams. I mean, listen, you and I were there. We lost to UNLV, and they were good. They had good dudes, but still, they're UNLV. So it doesn't matter. Right. So, like, as much as like we get on a podcast and talk like about this, it happened to us. So I am being patient.
Right.
My only concern is I think you said it. We're throwing dink and dunks here. We have no explosive plays. We don't even take shots. I mean, I remember, dude, Ernest Mason could run full speed. He was a 4.1 flat. He's one of the fastest dudes I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's literally.
Do you remember Coach White's like, listen, third play, fifth play of the game, we're just going to throw it to you. You're just going to run straight, and we're going to throw it to you.
Yeah.
We game planned to take shots.
Yeah.
Because then when Ernest Mason's on the field, the DB's like, let me back up 3-4 steps.
Yep.
I don't see that. So I'm with you. I don't know I think it's a combination of coaching and scheme. Mm-hmm. I don't know, because Tyler Van Dyke wants to take a shot, and I don't know if we give him that option to be like, we're doing this. So I don't know. I don't break down the offense that much. Mm-hmm. Like, we don't sit in that room anymore. Do you think maybe there's some hiccups? And this is just maybe out of right field, but because of the transfer portal, because we have new quarterbacks each year, could that be a timing relationship thing?
Oh, I definitely think so. And to me, it's like, so you have to think about things, right? The teams that have really been able to make the transfer portal work, specifically with quarterbacks, are teams that have had a system in place. They've had a coach and a system in place, and they've been doing it for a long time. I think about what's his name that was at Oklahoma. He's now at USC. Lincoln Riley, right? He's been able to successfully pull the transfer quarterback and make it work. But how long has he been running that system? He's been running the system for a long time and been doing it successfully, right? We're implementing a new system with a culture that was not really designed for that type of scheme, and trying to bring in, not one-shot wonders. I wouldn't say that, but trying to bring in, instant starters, like day one starters. And it doesn't always happen. I mean, even when we had success with Russell Wilson coming in, we still ran some of the same stuff that we were running. We added some new packages where we were running some empty sets, 4 receiver sets. But for the most part, the offense didn't change that much. We made some minor adjustments, and it worked out. But there's been other times where we've tried the transfer quarterback thing, and it's bombed on us. It hasn't worked out for the better. I can't remember some of the kids we got, but I think we had a guy from, maybe Kansas State one year, maybe Maryland one year. I mean, so it's hit or miss. So the thing I don't like about this portal is that it's always about building the best team. You know what I mean? It's not about building a program. So the things that really worked to our advantage, we were building programs. We had systems for developing guys. We had systems for how guys played, mistake-free football, fundamental football, physical football. And now it's just like, okay, let's find the best group of guys that we can put on a team for this put on the field for this football season and hope to go compete for a championship. And I don't know if it's going to take a while for us to acclimate to that type of play. And if you look at what's going on in college football, the schools that have programs, that have built programs, either the coach is leaving and he's saying this is not going to work anymore, like what happened at Alabama, I think, or you have coaches that are struggling. So if you look at Clemson was a program. Dabo Swinney built a great program, and now this transfer portal NIL era has completely disrupted that and made it very difficult to continue on that pathway. And so I think that, I don't know if all these things happening at the same time is working in our favor.
You bring up some amazing points that we do not have enough time to drill down on. Mm-hmm. But I do love that you said building a team. We're building a team, not a program. I think that is extremely, to this day, like extremely meaningful right now. Mm-hmm. College football reminds me of the NFL. It's just, where can I go for the most money to compete or to play for a championship? Yeah. It's not, dude, we had Chad Coons on. Chad was like, Matt, you sucked when you got to college. Mm-hmm. And I did. I was the worst. But imagine if I knew that, I could have just left.
Yep.
But I was like, no, I'm going to stick it out here because, one, I chose this place, and two, that's the culture, which you also mentioned is, and you pick up things, you learn, and you're going to grow. And to me, college football might not be the same, right? Like where you get a Coach White for 13 years, 15 years almost, where he says, I'm going to make these guys.
Yep.
He said it, your genetic ceiling. He's like, I want to help you reach your genetic ceiling. Mm-hmm. That is so cool. The culture of Wisconsin has shifted drastically. Mm-hmm. Do you see it like coming back? Like, do we have the ability to bring it back to what it was?
I don't think so. And I'm just going to talk from my perspective as an alum. I think it's even hard. I'm a fan and an alum, right? So I'm in two unique buckets. But, being a fan, right, like you get attached to seeing the players. You feel like you kind of get connected to them. A little bit about them. Maybe you go to fan days. You watch them for 4 or 5 years or 3 or 4 years. And you feel a connection to them. And then as an alum, there's certain things that are always going to kind of link us to one another, whether we played there during whatever era, right? Like if you played during the Barry era, we could talk to anybody about seminary. We can talk to them about, Alvy terms, right? Abuse leads to restriction. We could talk about all these different terms. There's all these different connecting points. So you feel like, there's some type of common bond. And now guys come in and out so frequently that it's hard for me to keep up with who's on the roster. Somebody will make a play and I'm like, who is that? Like, where did that person come from? Like, oh, they transferred from this school, or we got them from this school. And so it does make things a little different. And I think I have to adjust to it. I don't know if I see it going back as long as the portal is what it is and NIL is what it is. I think it has completely changed the game of college football a little bit. And so it's going to take me as a fan and an alum a little while to get used to that. Mm-hmm. Because now guys will be in one year and you're like, oh, I love that guy, and boom, gone. You know what I mean? You think of a guy like Tretz, right? Like, he's talented, right? And now, if he doesn't start getting some balls, or he doesn't, you don't know what's going to happen, right? Like, he could be gone next year. He could be somewhere out west, or he can be at another program. And he was there for a little while. Now he's not there. So anyway, these kids will have like 6 different homecomings to go to, right? Because they all play for like 3 or 4 different schools. But as a fan, I could definitely see it. Definitely is a little challenging.
I definitely don't blame the kids though, because I think we saw coaches doing this long before players could, right? Like, especially like, I mean, like Bernie, like you talked about and you had guys both had Coach B-Dub for the entirety of your collegiate career. How many position players, how many position coaches do you think most players go through? Because I would imagine it's like if you're there for 5 years, you're probably going through 3 position coaches more than likely because of how fast guys cycle in and out of these positions. So I don't entirely blame the kids for that culture.
Well, I think we're lucky. We had Coach White, who was there. He was a staple. He recruited Ron Dane. He was there for the entire
Barry staff, though. Like,
not everybody. The tight end coach was in and out. I think there was 3 tight end coaches. So it still happened. It just happened on such a smaller scale that you didn't notice it as much. I can't name a lot of the defensive coaches when I was there, but only because I never sat in those rooms. I really had nothing to do with Bradford recruited me. Outside of Bradford, I probably had no idea who half the other. Sometimes people are like, "Oh, do you remember this guy?" I'm like, "No, who was that guy?" They're like, "Oh, he's the DB's coach or the other guy," and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, I got to go back and Google these people." Sadly, only because you were only with your group in the offense so much, it didn't really matter. John Palermo, because he'd come and yell at you.
Yeah. And just to be clear, I don't blame anything on the players, right? I think this thing works out good for a lot of players, right? Especially I think about, players at a mid-major who may have a great season and they want to transfer up and they get an NIL deal that's going to beat whatever they possibly would get if they went undrafted or if they got a rookie free agent deal or whatever it may be. That might be their one chance to get access to a large lump sum of cash, right? So I'm not mad at them at all, right? I think that the players do have to do what's in their best interest. I'm speaking from a selfish fan perspective of you know what I mean? And I agree with you, Perko, on the fact that, coaches just up and leave they would up and leave drop of a dime. I'm not going anywhere. 2 days later, I'm gone. Okay. So, I think that I do think that it gives players a little more flexibility. And it allows people to, again, it may be better off for a player to transfer up. They may not have a shot to go to make an NFL roster, but they transfer up and they get, maybe they get a 6-figure payout or they get a 6-figure deal and they end up getting, and if they can get their degree and that type of money, then they're off to a great head start in life.
Mm-hmm. You don't have to tell us this, but I'll tell everyone. Yeah. I signed for $10,000 to the Lions. Imagine if I made money for 4 or 5 years at college. I would have made more than $10,000.
Absolutely.
So, also, and that's pre-tax. So then it was like $5,000 something at the end of that. So imagine dude, they sold so many 28 jerseys. 28 was everywhere when I was there. I think my parents have 17 different 28 things with a bunch of 45s. And
imagine all the with how much y'all ran the ball, all the local endorsements you guys would have had.
Would have been bananas.
The two of you on a poster together, but Wando's with us or something like that.
A custom Wando burger would have been great. I'm not going to sit here and lie. Give me a custom burger. Throw me a couple ducats and I can go in there and, do a little commercial and show off the burger. I'm good with that.
But AD, I do, as much as we joke, I do really think you hit the nail on the head. It's not the play. Listen, people will blame the players. Mm-hmm. I would not, because one, you got to get, first off, making money is important. And everyone now is how do I make more money?
Yeah.
And when you're in college and we allowed this, it's the whole collective we. NCAA, coaches, everyone has said, you guys want the NIL is real. I didn't say yes to it. Somebody else did and said we built this for the NCAA. So guess what? We created this monster and now we have kids living in it. Yeah. And they should have the ability to prosper and make as much money as they can on their name, image, and likeness. Do you remember how pissed we were that the game would have number 28 and you'd be like, that is 100% me. I have not seen $1 and I'm going to eat 25-cent wings because I can't actually afford anything more than that. So that's my rant.
Virtual AD won me a lot of Heismans in NCAA 24 and 25,
so many,
bro.
So many.
Virtual AD was an absolute
and Virtual AD saw no money off of that. And he couldn't get a ride from a booster either. Wait, AD, but I want to take it back to the culture thing. And more of the dude, Alabama is coming into town. Mm-hmm. We played in big games. What was your ramp up, what was you wake up Sunday and you're like, man, South Dakota's behind us. Who cares? We won. It doesn't matter anymore. What was the ramp up for you before like Ohio State came in? It was they were number 1 or 2 in the nation. We beat teams in that space. What was the culture? What was the culture? What was your ramp up, and what do you think that these guys should be focusing on?
I always felt like, those were the games that like, damn, I'm so excited I get to play in this game, right? Like I grew up watching some of these games in these stadiums, and now it's like, boom, you're out there. And if it's something on the line, or this is a team or school that particularly has a chip on their shoulder or walks around like people kind of bow down to them, even better, right? Because those are the ones where it's even better to win those games. So I mean, I'm up for this type of game. I would have been up for. Just because I'm like, how many times are you going to get a chance to play? We play elite competition every week, but I mean, like top of the line elite programs, and they're coming to your house. So this is a great opportunity. I would be stoked if I was those guys, just ready to go and make a name for myself. Make a name for ourselves, get the W. I mean, that's what I love about college football. Every Saturday, there's some new kid coming out of nowhere. Like, damn, who was that? Who was this guy? Where'd he come from? And you hop on Google, you're looking up what high school they went to, or if they transferred, and now all of a sudden you know this name, and this person has done something immaculate or made some great plays, and now you want to follow them. So if I'm those guys, that's what I'm thinking of. I want that to be me. I want to be the guy that's going to be out there getting 11 tackles or 15 tackles, or I want 2 picks. I want to pick this quarterback off twice, or I want to sack him 2 or 3 times. I mean, I don't know how you don't get, jacked up for this type of game.
Yes. If you can't get jacked up, you shouldn't be playing football. Mm-hmm. This is, even when we went, AD, you were there, we went in 2002, or I think it's 2003. We went and played at Penn State.
Oh yeah.
And even to get jacked up to go there, to beat them.
Yeah.
Like just to play, like we're from the East Coast, to play at Penn State is special.
Yep.
Joe Pa was the coach. Like that stuff was real. But the culture was. This is why I'm nervous a little bit about our culture shift here, because Barry in meetings was like, "We're gonna win. We have a proven track. Ohio State. We haven't, dude. He's like, we haven't lost to those guys. I guess in 2002 we lost to them, or 2001. But he's like, we run 5 out of 6 in the last 6 years, so we're gonna win. You guys just practice and play and do your part, and we'll do it. The coach." He's like, the coaches are going to do it. We're going to coach you hard. Same with CB Dub would say that too. He's like, I'm going to get on you guys this week. It's Ohio State or it's whatever. I just like, feeling that confidence come out of the coaching staff and each other, right? Like Brooks Bollinger was there when they beat Ohio State at Ohio State with Ron Dane, right? And then you went and in the second quarter had that huge run on a handoff in 12 personnel, because I wasn't on the field. I was so sad. And then it's, once you score one time, we were like, dude, it's ours. Like, we should win this game.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm nervous about the culture in that way, only because Vic can't stay up there and say, hey, we've been doing this for years.
Yeah, and I also don't know if, and this is me being totally ignorant, I don't know what the practice culture is like, right? But I can know that if there was a big game, you felt it. You felt the intensity from the coaches. And I'm like, oh man, Coach White is on fire tonight. Don't mess up this cone drill. You know what I mean? Get the ball up. You're just paying attention to every little detail, because you can tell that your coach has a volcano getting ready to erupt under him. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, yo, we got to get going. I don't know what the intensity level is like. I can remember times where like, coach going crazy just during the pregame. I'm like, man, he ain't going to make it up to the damn booth. He's going to bust a vein in his head or something. You know what I mean? This dude is, he give him a helmet. You know what I mean? Like so I don't know what they have.
If you drop the ball in warm up on that drill, like the short pass, the medium pass, the long, he would get on you for 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, man. He went off one time. We were playing Michigan at home, and they had these two great linebackers, Victor Hobson and Larry Foote, and they were both jogging laps around the field. And they were talking cash money, like, we gonna bust you, we gonna break you, Davis. And he got so mad Man, those guys, he was going after him like, bro, coach, get over here and run the drills, man. Like, you ain't got to step on the field, so you just just cool out, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
Don't get these guys mad.
don't get these guys amped up. I'm good. I'm ready for the game. I'm gonna show it. I don't show it the same way everybody else does, but yeah, that type of intensity though is what really, I think got us going too. In addition to us wanting that, and there was an expectation that came from the top down that you win big games. We win big games here.
All right, AD, I know you got to get out of here in just a minute, but before we do, I want to ask you, outside of Tyler Van Dyke, obviously the quarterback, who are 2 players on offense and 2 players on defense that have to have big games in order for the Badgers to win?
Okay, so you said not Tyler Van Dyke, right?
Yeah, because obviously the quarterback has to perform well if they're going to come up big.
I'm going to go with Ches. I'm going to go with Ches, and I'm going with my man Tretch, right? Like, this is the guy who I just feel like there's an X factor with this guy. And, he came from a big-time high school, plays big-time sports program, playing national competition. I know this guy's itching to get out there and make big plays. And so he could be the X factor. Those are my 2 X factors for the game on offense. On defense, I'm going to go with my boy Rico Hallman. You know what I mean? Him making a play, I feel like elevates the defense. But also I think Chaney is going to have to make some big plays in the run game, going side to side and stopping Alabama.
Well, he's missing the first half because of that targeting penalty.
Right.
So it's going to be Tackett Curtis starting in his place.
He looked pretty good though. Tackett looked.
I'm a fan of Tackett. Bernie and I were on the Big Ten show earlier today and I was saying that I love Tackett Curtis. Like, I think he's a heat-seeking missile and could be a big play, a big play guy. And they're going to need Rico Hallman to get a pick, make a big play like that.
Yeah.
Because I think Wisconsin has to win the turnover battle by 2 at least if they're going to win this game. And I think a Rico Hallman pick would go a long way there.
And I'll just be honest with you on defense. I need to see some energy. Like, I need to see who's going to be the guy that just makes a play and the whole team feeds off of it. Like, okay, it's different from when this guy gets a sack or makes a tackle than other people, right? He gets a tackle and all of a sudden the rest of the defense is more energized. People can run faster. They're stronger. You know what I mean? It just ignites the defense. And I think we need some of those type of plays to get people excited and ready and confident. So.
AD, we got one more question for you.
Yeah.
What would be, if you're given the pregame speech, what's just one thing you'd say to relay to the team?
Ooh. I don't know if I can say it.
Well, you don't have to give the speech, but what is I would just say, guys, play like this is the most exciting day of your life.
Yeah.
Like you have fun out there, play with your hair on fire.
I would talk to them about this is a program game, right? This is a game that can define the trajectory of this program. You go out here, this is a program game. This is a statement game, right? You can make a statement to the whole world right now. If this SEC team comes in here and you smack them in the face at the camp, and all of a sudden there's the conversation is different, right? And now things are very different. The doubters are quiet, right? The concerns are gone, right? This is a chance for all the hard work that has gone into, implementing these new schemes on defense, this 3-3-5 and this air raid offense or spread offense. Now it's all worth it, right? This is why we did this. This is the statement game. That's what I would talk to them about. But I would use a lot more F-bombs and different creative words to wake them up and create a sense of urgency.
Dude, I know but Matt Perkins, if you go back when AD scored a touchdown, we went berserk. Like everyone, we were so excited. If I made a block and AD scored, you'd be like me going bananas. I was the first over to hug and hold AD up while he gave the, his fraternity symbol. Like, I loved it. Dude, it was wild. And I just want these guys to experience how much fun it is to be playing at Camp Randall. Like, you get such a finite amount of experiences to do it. Just enjoy every moment of it.
Absolutely.
Like, just go out and have a good time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's a statement game. This is always a statement pod when AD is on with us. We appreciate everyone tuning in here to Believe in Badgers on the Believe Network, presented by betonline.ag and Oak Ridge Wealth Management. Enjoy the game this weekend, people. Big one, obviously. Like I said, appreciate you tuning in. And until next time, on Wisconsin.